All right, everybody, welcome back. Sam's Army, match week 13/14, and we got a lot to talk about. We're going to start out with Premier League, where we'll talk Pep's legacy, Amorim's magic juice, and the race to the bottom between Aston Villa and Newcastle. Halftime will feature weekly What If involving us as Premier League managers. Round the World with the world-famous Hit-It-N-Quit-It MLS Playoff Minute. And Stoppage Time with Ivan Toney's Best Bets. Overtrain is hot, by the way, on that. And, of course, everyone's favorite segment, GOAWs. Now, time to welcome in this week's panel of beauties, starting with Mr. Mitchell Goulet, a.k.a. Overtime Mitch. Give us the updated timeline on you dunking on small children on a basketball court.
It's always small children. I never play anybody my own size in these hypotheticals.
I swear I've seen you actually dunk on a small child on your Instagram story.
I have. Oh, no, I have. I'm not. That was not me being sarcastic. That was genuine. I gave myself until, May 1st of next year to dunk. I have it in my calendar as dunk day. That'll be exactly 7 months after the surgery. And I think that's a realistic goal to get back to. So yeah, we're looking at 7 months post-op.
7 months. Okay. All right. I'll set the clock now. Yep. I'm rooting for you. Next up,
appreciate it.
Mikey Fowler, back from, where were you? Were you in LA?
I'm everywhere.
He's everywhere at once. Okay. So, I was going to ask you something about your trip, but instead I'll ask you for, what's your dunk day?
I was actually talking earlier when we were talking about the rehab of the other two people on this program. Do you guys remember those shoes that you used to buy from East Bay that promised you'd be able to dunk soon?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Anybody a sucker like me? Yeah. No. Once I get those, Sam, I'll set you a dunk day.
6 months from then. 6 months from that day.
6 months from then.
All right. In fact, I might get you those for Christmas. Keep an eye out. All right. Last but never least, Tyler Terrence, who is fresh off a week in New Mexico, where he was affectionately known as Uncle Tyler. So, is it true that what they say about being around small kids being the world's most effective, prophylactic / anti-aphrodisiac?
Anti-aphrodisiac? No. We went the other way.
Oh,
absolutely not. Yeah.
Okay. So it's not true what they say.
No, at least no. But there's an exception to every rule. But I'm, I'll just say, my biological clock is ticking over here. I'm ready. I'm ready to be a dad. I've been saying that for years. I'm ready.
Oh boy.
So, yeah.
Oh boy. I love that. I love that answer. Oh boy. And I'm sure you're probably the exception to a lot of rules, but you know what? We're not here to talk about you. So let's move on to the Premier League. So let's go to, actually, I'm not going to go to the Liverpool fan. I'm going to go to a Premier League or a non-Arsenal or non-Liverpool fan, Mikey. What is the most interesting result of the weekend and why?
Man, we have to just get into it. I really can't. You can't beat around the bush with this one. I can't stop thinking about what's happened to Pep Guardiola. This may be one of the lower roller coaster dips that any famous managers had. I don't know if guys go through this kind of thing, at least not ones I can remember. I know you're going to give me specific examples, or somebody out there is going to give very specific examples of stretches where teams did not find success, but there's something so hopeless and really, really antagonized in the way he's acting that I can't stop thinking about. So I'm sorry for ruining your plans, but we have to start there.
No, listen, I didn't have a plan, and that's a fine place to start, but I wanted, somebody like a third party to actually start there because we knew Tyler was going to go balls.
It's the most interesting thing that's happening here.
Certainly is. And so what he's getting at here...
It's covering up everything that Liverpool's doing, and it's pissing me off, and I had every intention of addressing it. But anyway, you can go ahead before I blow this whole podcast up, because it's really been pissing me off in a really special kind of way.
Somebody give me my flowers, God damn it!
Fuck's sake, man.
Listen, okay, so what Mikey was beating around the bush about is the 2-0 win at Anfield. And this wasn't really just a 2-0 win. This was kind of domination by Liverpool, where City just had nothing. They had no answers for whatever questions Arne Slot and Liverpool were asking. I don't know. Tyler, what?
You just call my manager a slut?
Yeah,
Is that what you just did?
I don't want to call him Ernie Slut.
Amorin?
Listen,
Ruben Amorin? Yep.
pronunciation is not exactly my strong suit.
No.
All right. Then what do you want to talk about, though? Do you first want us?
I want to talk about the fact that, like, no, well, I mean, a little bit, yeah. Like,
Please
Pep's downfall. Pep's downfall has been it's been delicious, and it would take 17 different types of PhDs to figure out what's going through his mind. The self-harm, okay, a week ago, to him holding up 6 to the Anfield crowd after they're talking about, he's getting sacked in the morning. What's going on through this guy's dome right now? Nobody knows. I mean, shit, Sigmund Freud, has no idea what's going on inside the brain of Pep Guardiola. But meanwhile, you've got one of arguably the greatest organizations in the Premier League, not named Manchester City, and just because of their wealth of riches, currently operating right now. And we just replaced the legend with what is about to be another legend. And everybody just wants to talk about Pep losing 6 straight games. Jesus. Like, when's the last time that a massive club has won a Premier League, won Champions League, and basically taken themselves from the dead and brought them back to superiority, said goodbye to a manager, and then the next year, they're even better than they were before? When's the last time that that's happened in the Premier League? I'll wait. And all of you, who?
Are you asking when the last time a club fired a club legend and then their great players that were already there were finally let to shine?
No, that's not what I'm asking. Shut up. I'm not done yet. That's not what I'm asking. Let me ask my hypothetical. Don't twist my words. What I'm saying is like, this has never happened, what's currently going on with Liverpool. And I'm sure I'm jinxing it right now, and they're going to lose the next 7 straight. But for right now, Liverpool is the best team in Europe, coming off of this ridiculous run in this ridiculous era from Jurgen Klopp that would have yielded 3 or 4 Premier League titles if it wasn't for Pep Guardiola. And all we can talk about is how bad Manchester City has been for 4 weeks. And yet nobody wants to talk about the fact that Liverpool basically didn't make a summer signing, brought in a new coach, had contracts up in the air left and right, and were atop the Champions League table and the Premier League table by 9 points. And everybody just wants to talk about Pep and is not talking about how freakishly good the Liverpool organization is at not only identifying talent at the coaching position, but players. And sure, we might fuck up the Mohamed Salah situation at some point, but for right now, and I told you all that it's bullshit that Jamie Carragher was saying, and he grew up, he played in an era that social media didn't exist. Mohamed Salah can take care of his money and take care of business on the field at the same time. I told you all this. I told all of you.
Now, are you a little nervous about crowning yourself in December? And not just in December. Is it December 2nd?
Yeah, fuck yeah, I'm nervous about it. My girlfriend asked me, she was like, so what happened in the Liverpool game? Like, we were driving to her parents' house for a late Thanksgiving dinner because we were out in New Mexico. I was like, they won. She was like, why aren't you, like, ecstatic? You said, like, they might be able to win the league. And I was just like, because my teams typically don't do this, number one. And number two, it's way too early to actually crown ourselves this, but nobody's come back from this deficit before. So, like, I don't know what to fucking make of it. I'm nervous.
I'm just gonna explain why I think, and not belittling anything about what Liverpool's done. I think it's an unbelievable start, and Arne Sloot has done a fantastic job. But here's some of the reason why the story is Pep and it isn't Liverpool at this point. Which, hate on it all you want. 2018-19, City trailed you by 10 points after 20 match weeks. 2021, they trailed Liverpool by 8 points on Christmas Day. 22-23, they trailed Arsenal by 8 points in match week 29. Like, I know the gap is seemingly massive at this point. You are still relatively young with this manager. I mean, this system, this whole thing. There will be a Christmas period dip. Everybody has it. I think the lead I think it's a healthy title lead right now. I don't think it's by any case insurmountable. And I think people know that. I think that the people are waiting for you to slip up. And so the story is, how far will City fall behind before they decide that they're going to City it and try to catch everybody else?
Okay, but again, and this is like kind of counterintuitive to my point, I'm arguing with myself here, is that the City group is and I'm not talking about the football group, I'm talking about like the City team right now is nothing close to what they've been in years. They are not going to rattle off 14 wins in a row this year. And I think that that's why everybody's already deeming Liverpool, and not for nothing, but Chelsea and Arsenal aren't doing that either, because God forbid Martin Odegaard goes down another international window and you guys will, drop 5 straight, because that's clearly who you guys are. You're nothing without Martin Odegaard. So for me, and maybe this is where the cheese lies in all of this and why I'm still not super excited, is that Liverpool might drop 3 or 4 in a row. Chelsea could stay steady and potentially they might finish in second place and they might be the actual title contender this year. But I think that the overarching conclusion for most people right now, and I know that I want Liverpool to get their flowers, but I don't even think Liverpool are as elite as they're leading on. Or maybe just everybody in the Premier League is just slightly above average right now. And
it's a down year.
It is a down year. Game's gone.
We've talked about that. We were talking about that when we were giving sort of Nottingham Forest their flowers. We won't give Liverpool their flowers, but we'll give Forest their flowers. When we were talking about how they have a chance to, finish in the top half or maybe even in Europe, it seems like the whole league is a bit down. Mitch, I know you want to get a word in here.
Well, one, nobody wants to talk about Liverpool as opposed to talking about Pep because Tyler's just going to yell at him. But two, I don't think this is the year that City comes back and City's it. We started talking about it last year when we kind of saw the cracks showing. Now all of those chickens have come home to roost. This genuinely feels like the beginning of the end of Pep Guardiola's time at City. And we've never really seen anything like it, so we don't really have anything to compare it to, which is why everybody's talking about it. Because this is unprecedented in the career of Pep Guardiola and in the dominant era that City has had. We have seen Liverpool go on good runs of form. That's why it's talked about less than the downfall of Pep. And let's be honest, everybody, including ourselves on the internet, loves to talk about a downfall more than we like to talk about a good run of form. So that's where my head's at with City Liverpool. I will give you guys a handful of daisies, though. You look good. You look like the best team in Europe after battering Real Madrid in the midweek and then coming and just fucking bossing it to those boys in blue. You look good.
So here's the
good time to catch Madrid and City. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not lost on me. Okay, that's not lost on me.
No, but you do need a modicum of luck with your schedule throughout a season. Nobody's ever faulted a title winner for that, and you just caught him at a good time.
But Sloot is pushing all of the right buttons to start Connor Bradley against Real Madrid and then start Trent against Manchester City, especially when Trent, the whole narrative going into that game was this is going to be an audition for Real Madrid type thing. And he's basically turned Gravenberch and Curtis Jones into summer signings. I mean, those are the two guys who have been playing the best and playing out of their mind under Arne Slot comparatively to Jurgen Klopp. And, Mo Salah doesn't need any more flowers than he's already gotten, but goal and an assist, and then coming off of, the penalty miss against Real Madrid in the same week in which he, seeks out a beat reporter to talk about his contract issues. This man can do everything.
Now, so I agree with you on Liverpool, and I actually have a question for you on Liverpool. But before we get to that, let's talk Pep and City real quick. So, as you guys have said, as we've said previously on this podcast, this doesn't feel like those City teams of past, where it's just sort of inedible. They're gonna go on a run, and they're not gonna lose a game from January to June, right? This does not feel anywhere near like that. There's several things. Rodri's injury, right? That's a huge blow. KDB's age, he's just not the KDB of old. Then, Kovacic, I believe, went down. So they have all these injuries. They also sold Julian Alvarez. Haaland may not be in the greatest form, whatever. It just doesn't feel like the city teams of old. And then certain things with Pep makes me sort of feel like this is definitely, it sort of solidifies that thought. Number one, the signing of the contract extension out of the blue, that just seemed weird. There was no need for that. The timing of it felt like, desperation a little bit. Number two, Pep and him raising the six fingers at Liverpool fans at the end of the game when they're losing to Liverpool at Anfield this weekend. That felt like something that Pep of old, meaning Pep as of 6 months ago, would never do. You don't need to show people six fingers if you are confident in where you are and your situation and your status in life and where your team's going. You do that when you are rattled. And I think that was, for me, it crystallized the fact that this City team is not winning the title this year, and Pep is definitely gone at the end of the season, which I think we already expected. But it just crystallized for me that this City team is not City that we remember. And,
I'd be pissed if I was a City supporter and he just threw up 6 while you're getting battered at Anfield and you're amidst the worst stretch that the club has seen in quite some time. I'd be really upset. Now, you've obviously had a lot of success, but like I completely agree with you. You are totally tossing out the present and just sticking your head in the rearview mirror so that you could basically say, like, I don't have anything left to prove, yet I'm still in charge of your club, and this could be a very long season, but hey, here's the 6 titles that I did win. I'd be very frustrated.
To be fair, that was in direct response to Liverpool fans chanting, "You're getting sacked in the morning." And I don't think he's ever experienced, all fair play, I don't think he's ever experienced anything like that. He is
several in that a couple weeks in a
had-
row because Spurs fans were chanting it as they're singing it as well. But you're right.
It felt a little closer to home once you're getting battered, and that thought actually starts creeping up.
Yeah, I think that for the first
feels a
time he
little
actually
closer to home,
felt it. He's like, "Oh shit! Like this is how regular managers feel." So the thing
He looked like Jose doing that, and that's not a good look.
Whenever Jose does that,
Only
it's
Jose can pull
hilarious,
that off.
but it's also a mark of desperation and just sort of he's losing it a little bit, which Jose does, which is why he's so funny. But back to Pep, he's been so good for so long. And I think that we've, even on this podcast, given him a lot of flowers over the years. I certainly have been. But the thing is that I feel like maybe this situation we're in right now, when you guys, let me know what you guys think of this. I think it's kind of exposing Pep a little bit. He's an incredible man manager. He's incredible when it comes to knowing how to push guys' buttons, knowing how to juggle egos, all the stuff that goes on, in the locker room and all that stuff. He's clearly just world class at that. But when it comes to like actually making tactical decisions and all this, and playing the right players at the right times, and say maybe making a halftime adjustment against Liverpool when you're getting your doors blown off, nothing. There was nothing there. So Mikey, what do you think? Is this exposing Pep to a certain extent?
So exposing is a very strong word. I mean, this club and this system have achieved a lot of amazing consistency with the way they play. And I think what it comes down to really is the players have to play how Pep wants to make that system work. This group was not recycled. What do great teams do, right? They recycle, they plug in the system, they get rid of players a year before instead of a year after. All the good things that you hear about with football teams, everything like that. Think about guys like Kyle Walker, who doesn't seem to be a prototypical Pep player, who lost a step in his athleticism. Nobody's questioning that. And now some of his technical deficiencies are starting to show when they're lacking players. Rico Lewis is still undersized. He doesn't know what he's doing really with that left side of his back line. Calvin Phillips was supposed to be a player that they trained to be able to play in that role. They got rid of him. Kovacic was supposed to be an 8. Now he's got to play 6. Everyone saw for the last 3 weeks his legs gave out at 70 minutes. Now he's hurt. So Pep, while the system works, guys like De Bruyne don't really listen to him anymore. Kyle Walker's not really listening to him. A lot of those guys are checked out in terms of where they want their next move. They've achieved all you can achieve, and that's natural. He hasn't recycled the players in the appropriate amount of time, and now he's left with really, really late players to a system that requires really young buy-in players. So it's just square pegs, round holes all over the place, and he has completely lost the locker room, or else you wouldn't see that lack, like that air, like the arrogance that's coming off of him right now is a defense mechanism, because I think he knows deep down that this is not one of his teams. This is just a group of guys in the locker room.
How much of this do we actually think could eventually, and right, we're not going to know this until, the ruling comes out, is because of the charges or anything that might happen disciplinary wise? That's
got to affect the players, right? Like, they read this stuff, so they got to know maybe we're going to be in the fucking championship next year. And it's been a perfect storm of like there's little issues like that all over the place. Phil Foden having the worst Euros ever, spiraling into this campaign, massive difference. Grealish, where's he gone? Kind of lost a step there. Savinho, with the Citigroup expectations and stuff, like even that's a little odd. So nothing's making sense for them. And now all of a sudden, all this stuff, like Ederson's just getting dropped. So yeah.
But that felt like a move to just sort of I'm just going to drop somebody random. It was desperation. But I agree with Mikey in saying that like him throwing up 6 is like he's saying uncle. He's basically saying like, this is not my team. This is not my club. And for all of these other reasons that are probably going to come to the surface at some point in time, I'm just going to let you know what I did accomplish when like my team wasn't dealing with 115 charges and wasn't ravaged by injuries and basically in this huge transitional phase. However, if you are going to be Pep Guardiola and you're going to have all of these things that you've accomplished, you are also required to try to dig your team out of this type of hole. And missing out on Champions League with the salary that they have, no matter what the situation is unacceptable. And they're trending towards that right now. They are trending towards potentially not being in the top 4. I don't care who's injured or what's going on with the club. If you're Manchester City and you have that payroll, you can never miss Champions League. Ever. There's no excuse for it.
They've missed on a lot of these transfers if you go through them. One day we'll do that maybe on a Patreon episode. But like we got to start talking about some of these misses here. Nunez looks like he's fucking in a testimonial.
Yeah.
Like this is a terrible, terrible situation.
Well, you mentioned the Savinho one coming from City Football Group as well. I don't know if that's the way forward for these like intra club transfers. I feel like there's a lot of resources pulled into pulling a player from one team in City Football Group to another, and this is like the A1 example of why maybe that's just not the way to go. He's been super underwhelming.
Last question on this, because we've got to move on, but this is by far the most interesting thing going on in the Premier League universe at the moment. If Pep doesn't turn this around this season and they keep trending the way they're going, let's say they even still squeak into Champions League. They finish 4th and they make Champions League, but obviously at 4th place for a team that's won 6 titles in 7 seasons is a hugely disappointing season. Does that knock Pep's rep as this incredible manager?
No, because it'll be his last season. No.
But I guess that's not the question. The question is that does that knock his rep? And if he had left after last year, nobody would have blamed him, and especially with the charges looming, nobody would have been like, oh, he's pussying out or something like that. It would have just simply been, yeah, he's getting out at the right time. How many times do we say, whether it be athletes or coaches, whether it be retiring or stepping away at the right time, that they don't do it? And seemingly, maybe this does damage his reputation a little bit. It's not going to take away from the fact that people will look back on this era of the Premier League as dominated by Pep Guardiola and Manchester City, but it will be remembered by the fact that if this is his last season, that they looked painfully mortal, where he could have left at a time where everybody will look back on it and said nobody could touch Manchester City when Pep Guardiola was in charge, and now there's this. Again, still 25 games to go this year, but if they barely squeak into Champions League or miss out on it, it's going to be there on his record as a black mark for sure.
Exactly. Because listen, the whole thing is Pep can win with the best players ever, but what happens when he, we've always said, what if he goes and coaches Stoke? Does Stoke make some sort of incredible run? This is sort of suggesting that if he doesn't have those players, he's not Pep Guardiola. I don't know.
Well, we'll get our answers when he moves to Stoke next season. But I'll agree with Tyler very briefly that he will still be remembered for the incredible success that he's had. But this will be kind of like a tangible piece of evidence as to when exactly the downfall was and when that club started going downhill. I mean, compared to the uphill that they were on.
And by the way, we are going to have a special Talking Tactics with Tommy on Patreon this week, going a deep dive tactically as to what's gone wrong with Manchester City. So if you're not signed up for the Patreon, as we talked about, Triple T with Tommy is making all of us a lot smarter in the beautiful game. So go sign up for the Patreon if you haven't done so already.
Raising our collective soccer IQ for sure. Okay, that's it. We're done. I will just say Liverpool looks incredible. Like, no caveats, no asterisks. Yeah. They look great. You beat City and Real Madrid in the same week. I mean, that's just not nothing.
Let me stop you right there. We beat the reigning champions of Spain, Germany, and England back to back with a little bit of I think Brighton was mixed in there as well. So it wasn't like consecutively, but that's all gone on within the past like 2.5 weeks.
It's not too bad. Not so bad.
Yep.
Not so bad. Now, rest of Premier League, where it actually gets a little more interesting in terms of what was the most interesting result. Mitch, which result would you pick out as most interesting and why?
We can talk about the 7-goal first half. Why don't we?
Sure.
The 7-goal game all coming in the first half. That game was drunk. For those of you who didn't watch, I'm talking about Arsenal's 5-0 victory or 5-2 victory, to West Ham. That game was drunk from the first minute to the 45th. It was entertaining as all hell, and I think we looked really, really good. Another episode of why Martin Odegaard matters. The 2 goals that we did concede, one was a banger of a free kick. That was just that was just a peach. You can't really do much about that. And then the other one, kind of falling asleep in the back, but I think that was a good step in the right direction for us.
I was impressed. Listen, Arsenal can win these 1-0, 2-0 games left and right. I didn't know you could win a game 5-2. That's Odegaard. I don't think you can without Odegaard, but that boy, he stirs the drink quite well for you guys. Other results. I really want to talk about the United-Everton game. So, I don't know. Tyler, what are your thoughts on Manchester United in the Amorim era?
I thought that they looked pretty good. I mean, Everton, I still think that they're relegation candidates, very much so. I don't know if they will, but I mean, you drop, who was it? Eriksson and Johnny Evans from the starting 11. You drop Garnacho, and I don't know. They looked clean, and I like Xerxes sitting underneath. Good for him to get a goal. The Rat was very, very good. And Rashford is playing some really good football. And I had a feeling that he was going to, he just needed a change of scenery in terms of, whose voice is coming from the technical area. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to deem them a Champions League side after they beat Everton. But yeah, nice.
Yeah,
nice.
They look
good on you.
There's a lot of players that all of a sudden look a whole lot better. Diallo's playing really well. Rashford's playing really well. Xerxes obviously is scoring. Mikey, I know you were laughing about Johnny Evans, I believe, but any other thoughts there?
Yeah, I was laughing at Johnny Evans. I think I've pretty much, not to toot my own horn, I've got them pretty figured out at this point. They're a moments team. Anytime the lights are shining or anytime the coach is watching, they do a real push up. And
when is the manager not watching?
When he can't do anything about the situation, when Ten Hag is the guy getting yelled at, like when they play an FA Cup final, right? For example, and their dignity, their manhood's on the line, they show up and they play in a cohesive way. When a new manager comes in, they're like, look how good we can play. And then when they stop getting held accountable, they fall apart. They're moments players. Rashford needs confidence. Fernandez is as streaky as they come. And this is just another hot wave, and then it'll come back down at some point. And this is not the group that's going to find consistency for United. They need to change pretty much everything. But right now, it's just a hot streak. So, not reacting.
All right, not overreacting, that's for sure. Any other games? Oh, the other one that I really want to talk about. So we had Chelsea laying, taking Aston Villa out behind the woodshed, giving them one.
Who hasn't been doing that recently?
Fair enough. And Palace, which held Newcastle to a 1-1 draw. Who this season is a bigger disappointment for you, Mitchell Goulet? Aston Villa or Newcastle?
Pretty 1A and 1B. Both of them are having really, really uninspired seasons. Newcastle, I would say, are slightly more impressive because I don't think they've been battered as much as Villa has, and that's not just recency. I want to say Villa has much higher goal differential.
Yeah.
Newcastle has a higher goal differential than Villa, but yeah, Villa don't look anything like they were supposed to with the moves that they made in the offseason. And they're not even getting the results that they did last season as well. As much as I love Duran, I think he needs to move to a serious club so we can start live betting him again, because this club is not it.
And just to put a little more context on this, so Newcastle's in 11th place on 19 points. Aston Villa's in 12th place on 19 points. Newcastle does have a bit better goal differential, but they've also scored a lot less. So Aston Villa scored 19 and scored 22 conceded, and Newcastle has a goal differential of 0, 14 goals scored and 14 goals conceded. You got a winner of the biggest loser here, Tyler?
I'm kind of with Mitch, and it's just it's difficult to choose because they had such different expectations coming in. I mean, I almost want to say Villa because of how well they started and just how poorly it's gone for the past 2 months. I mean, they were perfect 3-0-0 after the first 3 match days in the Champions League, and like pretty solid in the Premier League as well. And I said at some point that this was going to come good because there was no way with their lack of depth that they were going to be able to keep up. I didn't think that they'd slip this far in the Premier League, but like there was just no shot that Morgan Rogers was going to continue to have the success that he was having, and that some of these players on Aston Villa who like are like sort of cult heroes and have been around Villa for a long time, that, you know, I'm not naming any names, but they're just not top level quality. Mikey, you'd see that smirk over there.
Yes. What I was going to say is exactly that. The John McGinn thing seems fun when you're winning, and then it seems fucked up when you can't score.
Yeah, but you know what all Villa fans will say is that you know what you're going to get out of that lad. He empties the tank every single time out. Like,
fuck off.
Yeah,
that's true.
He's playing 10. He's playing the 10 in the Champions League.
By the way, Todd Wharton being linked with Arsenal for a little January transfer.
So one quick addition here. I actually also agree with you guys on Aston Villa being slightly more disappointing. And it's almost more because of how important Isak is to Newcastle and how much he's been out. And I think he just got injured again this weekend against Palace. So that, for me, is almost like a tiebreaker. I know Aston Villa's had their injuries. Everybody's had their injuries. But Isak to Newcastle is really, really important. Okay. I guess we're out of time. We can't really talk about Tottenham. Damn, that's too bad. Unless you guys want to throw a little dirt on Tottenham's grave. Win, for the record, I knew this was going to happen. Come off of this huge win, 4-0, by the way. If you can beat, City 4-0 away, that's impressive. 2-0 at home, yeah, no, that's not so much. Fulham.
Are we going to deem Spurs to have the same sort of character flaws as Manchester United? Are they moment players? Because they defended and played like champions against Manchester City, but then when they have a random, weekend game against Fulham, everybody just wants to dick around and not track vertical runners and look like a super average team. So dare I say that they're moment guys as well.
I mean, I like the way Mikey sort of framed that for United. I don't really want to put that on Spurs because I don't think that's us. We're just unpredictable. Like, we're just not. So I guess you can paint us with that same goddamn brush because we'll beat City, we'll beat Newcastle or whoever. We've been beating a lot of good teams, and then we've been losing to Ipswich, and we've been losing or drawing at the death with a bad Roma team, or whatever the hell. We've just been I guess we are a moment team. We've been playing up to our competition and then playing down to them. So shit, this is a real
truth hurts, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah, this is a painful little self-reflection here. I don't really like it at all. Anything else? Other results? We had Forest winning a must-win game. I said going
needed
into
that.
Needed that game big. They got it at home against Ipswich on a penalty, which is a bit questionable. But listen, you got to do that in the Premier League to get some points on the board. Anything else? We move on. FPL quickly. We got to give a shout out to Nostradamus. That guy made some moves this weekend. He moved up into second place for one thing, above me. But he scored 90 points. Good Lord, he had Saka scoring 36, Gabriel for 9, Murillo 7, Mo Salah 13, Chris Wood for 9. Man, he didn't even triple captain. He just scored a lot of points. Now on the Sam's Army, so the Council Elders, so we still have number 1, Mikey Fowler, with the bad Major League Soccer.
See, Mikey, doesn't it hurt when they talk about, somebody else when really they're missing the huge big headline, which is Mikey Fowler in first place? Like, doesn't that hurt a little bit?
No, I take it back. That was appropriate, Sam.
Well, what stinks is that your name, Major League Soccer, is actually you're the second best Major League Soccer in the Sam's Army League. You're far below.
All right, fine. I'll name it. I'm going to name it something else then, and you're not going to like it.
I won't. But you're still in first place in the Sam's Army Council of Elders League. McGunners has now moved into second place, jumping me. I'm in third, followed by Mitchell and FCTT at the bottom. Oof.
I played my wild card, by the way. I just misappropriated my captainship. I overthought it. I thought João Pedro coming off of the previous game when he was balling out, and I'm like, at home against Southampton, this is a no-brainer. This guy's gonna score 7, and he had 4 points.
Didn't score 7. So who's at the top of the Sam's Army Podcast League? Cold Palmer FC, Aditya's TVs, you are in first place. Well done. Tony Baloney, Ryan Olson in second. Rooney Tunes, Brian Gerstenfeld in third. I'd Rather Walk Alone, Jay Quintana, fourth place. And Kun Erlingus, our guy Rob Carey, is in fifth place. Well done. Well done, you guys. And we'll move on to preview. So we actually have a double preview this week because we have a sneaky little full slate in the middle of the week and then followed by a full slate at the weekend. So some of the games that stood out, we got Arsenal hosting United on Wednesday. We got Newcastle hosting Liverpool also on Wednesday. We got a Merseyside derby, fart noise, on Saturday. I used to be appointment watching. Perhaps not so much anymore. And then on Sunday, a London derby, Spurs hosting Chelsea. So, Mikey, what game are you most interested in this week/weekend?
Well, in a negative way, totally pessimistic approach. I fear for the Liverpool players' safety in a match where they have 95% of the ball in a Merseyside derby. I feel like people are going to be out to end seasons, and I fear for Tyler's mental space.
It's at Goodison, isn't it?
I thought it was at
that
Anfield.
game perpetually.
Isn't it the last one?
It's going to be the last one. That game perpetually over the past several years has been 0-0. Like every single game, every Merseyside derby at Goodison over the past several years has finished 0-0.
It is Goodison,
but I don't disagree with you. Actually, you know what? I've been to that derby before, and everybody talks about how nice of a derby it is, and how everybody's friends, and in Liverpool, and there's not really much bad blood between Liverpool and Everton. I was like kind of disappointed. I wanted a little more animosity in my life when I was there, but they were like, yeah, no, we're all mates, and we all get on pretty well, and it's not that type of rivalry. But I don't know.
So you were disappointed that people were honest, and that was true. There is a friendly.
It's not that they were honest. It was just that I was just disappointed that it wasn't as blood, guts, and thunder as I thought. It wasn't like Arsenal and Spurs where they like genuinely hate each other and they have chants about how much they hate each other. I mean, the only chant that I think Liverpool has about Everton is you haven't won a trophy since 1994 or whatever it is. So yeah, I don't know. It's just a little disappointing.
Fair enough. I think
be the change that you want to see in the world.
That's right.
Throw a punch
That's
or something.
Right. Start it off.
meet love with hate. I think somebody said that once.
Love that.
All right, that's a good shout, Mikey. Well done, Mitch. What game are you most interested in?
Yeah, in the midweek, I'm looking to see Forest put up a 1-1 draw against City. That's going to be beautiful. Oh God, I'm salivating at the thought of that. We're going to see just how deep Pep's valley is going to go, or if he's going to pick it up. I feel like this is a very easy fixture to turn the morale of the club around and say, hey guys, let's go get 3 relatively easy points compared to our last 2 fixtures. But this could be getting worse. This could be really, really bad for them. I'm here either way. I don't think City's going to go in and walk all over them. That being said, it's probably a 4-0 win. But I really do think that Forest smells blood in the water, can see that this is a demoralized and injured City team, and can go get a result against them. And selfishly, I'd love that.
Fair enough. Good shout. Nottingham Forest, their defense is pretty good. And City, they're dog shit.
Is there a world in where Pep gets sacked this season?
No.
I don't think so.
Come on. If he loses the next 4 straight, and they're in like 10th place at Christmas.
I don't think so.
Come on. You have to draw the line somewhere.
That is the world. Is there a world in which Pep loses the next 4 straight?
Let's take a look at their schedule. I'm just saying.
Forest, Palace, Villa, Everton.
With Juventus and Champions League mixed in there.
I'll tell you what.
If
they get embarrassed at home against United.
I was going to say, yeah, there's a United derby in there as well.
There's a United derby in there as well. That could spell some trouble for Pep. Because keep in mind, as good as he's been, the expectations for him are also different than the rest of the world.
But they're not lose 6 straight. They're like
I didn't say 6.
No, but that's what we're coming off of right now.
Yeah.
That's the expectations for Pep are definitely adjusted, and you can provide him some grace because of what he's done in the past. But this, particularly like hand in hand with the product that they're seeing on the field, it would be one thing if they were losing these games by one goal, or they had looked like they were in it, but these past few weeks you haven't seen anything redeeming from the side. So yeah, I can see a world in which he gets sacked. I want to change my answer. Yeah.
Pulled 180 on us. Still don't think.
I've convinced Mitch of a couple things and I've convinced Sam that his team is a bunch of posers who only play for the moment with the help of Mikey.
I feel like you may have put a few words in my mouth there, but
I'm just
not the posers part.
No,
the posers, you said that.
The moments.
You said
players
that.
We play for moments or something. But what was Mikey's terminology?
Moments players.
All right.
You guys play down to your competition.
Well, I do
Let's
admit
keep it
that.
simple.
There's no doubt.
Yeah.
I mean, listen,
I wasn't going to call your club moments players. I have a different thing I think about.
Okay, what's your theory on Tottenham?
Shit.
I think you guys are trialists.
Trialists?
You watched the glory that came to Kyle Walker, and every time you play City, all 11 are trying out for a move.
They want that.
So just call them what they actually are, which is Southampton.
We just want that £250,000 a week contract. I can't blame us, to be honest.
There are a lot bigger clubs to be playing for in the Premier League right now.
Oh, Jesus.
Brighton.
This guy, he's Liverpool fan.
I still listen. We're gonna keep checking back in with this whole United roster being better than Spurs. That's gonna come good by the end of the season. I'll tell you what.
That's not gonna. All right? That's not gonna come good.
Yes, it will.
It already is.
All right, we'll leave it there. We got to move on. We spent so much time talking about Liverpool and City, and mostly just City, but we got to move on to halftime. Weekly what if. So if everyone on this podcast is given a managerial role today in the Premier League with the current squads and financial constraints and toxic fan bases and aspirations, etc., that come with each club, two-part question. What club would you choose to manage and why? And number two, who out of you would be the most successful? And by the way, we got to give a shout out to somebody on this question. We got it on the Discord, so shout out Connor McGowan. Well done on the question. One of our loyal Patreon subscribers who we love so much. So, Tyler, what are your thoughts here? If you were going to coach one club in the Premier League right now, who would it be?
I think I answered this on the Discord as well. I said Palace. I want to take charge of Palace, and I want to bring them back to the glory that they deserve. Okay, I need to be in London first off. Okay, can't stick me in the middle of Wolverhampton,
Liverpool,
or Birmingham. Stop that. Liverpool might be better than London. Shut up. But I'll be in charge of Palace, and I will get the most out of those guys. And what Oliver Glasner cannot do, or seemingly cannot, refine after what he did at the end of last season. But and if I finish in 16th, I'm not getting sacked either, because the expectations are pretty low right now. So I'm pretty happy with the situation. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Mikey, who are you coaching?
As an FM player myself, this is a question I ask myself every couple weeks when I'm starting a new save. So I can speak from experience here, and I'm going to tell you where I'm going to take you first. We're going to start in South America. I'm going to take a fallen giant, and I'm going to rise them to the top. Next time you hear from old Mikey, you're going to be seeing me fist pumping in the air in a stadium full of Brazilians winning the Libertadores. And then I'm ready to come over to Europe. I'm taking Santos FC from the Serie B in Brazil, who were just relegated last year. I'm going to bring them back to glory and win a Libertadores before I start my career in Europe. I have to earn it first before I get to a big club.
You twisted that.
I didn't know we could go anywhere in the world. I want to change my answer.
It's Premier League, but I actually like it because he's proving his bona fides in South America before he comes.
I have to win there
to the Premier League.
Yeah,
I do.
It's what Frank Lampard should have done.
And the second part of that question is who would be the best coach amongst all of us. I'm going to avoid saying Tommy because everybody who reads the Patreon should know that he's the answer. I'm going to give you a little bit of a curveball. The best coach specialist we have in this group is Mitchell Goulet as a free kick set piece specialist. The amount of creativity that goes into his dead ball work, the amount of time he spends all day thinking about weird and crazy tactical things you can pull off on a field. That's my free kick specialist. That's my set piece coach. He may be the most perfectly set person for a job.
That's like a backhand. That's a backhanded compliment. What, are you going to pay the guy like $60,000 a year to be your set piece coach?
Those guys make all the difference.
Take that job in a heartbeat. $60,000 benefits too. Absolutely, all day.
Jesus, overtime. Pay the man.
All right. We got two good answers. Mikey's was off the wall, but I love it. Mitchell, where are you going here?
I would have taken over the Chicago Fire had I known we could go anywhere in the world.
So here's the thing. I'm sensitive, and I know I may come off as like the bad boy of Sam's Army, but I'm not. I have a lot of feelings.
Anybody ever think that you're the bad boy of Sam's Army?
Everybody does. Everybody always says this to me. And I have a lot of feelings, and I internalize all of what you guys say. And because of that, I don't think I'd be able to handle a particularly hostile fan base. I don't think I want a club with a rich, hateful history like Tyler really wants in his derbies. But I do want a club with some talent. I'd want a club that aligns with my values. I want a club who has players that I see promise in, and a scouting team that has a proven track record over the last decade. And for me, that club is Brighton. So I would proudly take hold of the Brighton job. You notice how, we talk about them, but it's never in really any negative light. And even when they do succeed, it's always kind of like, yeah, Brighton's playing well right now.
Do you have the tactical acumen to pull that off? Because you're going to get ravaged by big clubs every 6 months. Are you going to be able to sort of hit the reset button and come up with a new recipe every single time to press the right buttons? Do you have that? Do you have that in the bag?
Set pieces, nerd. Look it up. Yeah, we're going to pull out set pieces.
Oh, yeah, because that's what Brighton's known for. Set pieces.
Seen.
Yeah.
I'm redefining the culture of the club when it comes to set pieces. Everything else is
they're going to go from playing some of the most beautiful soccer in Europe to just being Burnley. That's what you want. That's what you want to do to Brighton.
No. Keep doing what you're doing with the ball in play, but when the ball is out of play, I might sub myself on and take the set pieces myself.
Okay.
We are going to come up with the most ass backwards set plays that you have ever seen, and we will score a good 30 to 40% of our goals all season from dead balls.
Listen, that's a great answer. I'm accepting that. That's well done.
There you have it for the bad boy of Sam's
Army. Bad boy of Sam's Army.
Going to the rough and tumble area of Brighton.
Now, my answer is quick and simple. I'm self-aware enough to know that I would be a shit head coach. So I want to go somewhere that is going to pay me a lot and is going to give me a big golden parachute. So Manchester United would be my choice. And they'd probably be stupid enough to hire me. So I think that, honestly, this could work out.
I assuredly thought that answer after that buildup was going to be Chelsea, but what do I know?
You just ruined your whole life.
True. Actually, Chelsea makes a lot of sense because it'd be in London. I would like to be in London. I don't know. Nah, I'm sticking with United. I feel like they're dumb enough to hire me, and that's where we go. I get paid, and I get fired quick, but that's okay because I got my golden parachute. All right, we're skipping Compliment Corner. We're going to Round the World. Hit-It-N-Quit-It MLS Playoff Minute, coming off of the conference finals, and there was a lot of excitement. So hit us with what you got, Tyler.
All right, let's start in the Eastern Conference Final, of course, which was played at Inter & Co Stadium. No, that's not the name of Inter Miami Stadium. That's actually the name of Orlando City's, and it was Red Bulls and Oscar Pareja's Orlando City playing to a 1-0 result. Chatham, New Jersey's own John Tolkien with a delicious ball at the back post for Andres Reyes, who was able to knot it in. It went off his, I don't know, it was right on the post, but just one of those deliveries that there's nothing you can do about it if you're a defender or a goalkeeper. Reyes with the goal, he's been tremendous throughout this playoff run and really for the Red Bulls, and he's a big reason as to why they're having as much success as they are, so good for him to get the goal. And Red Bulls would hold on, not too much else in it. Orlando City had a good chance in the first half off of a counter, but couldn't finish it off. Congratulations to Sandro Schwartz, and this Red Bulls team is getting to a MLS Cup for the first time since 2008, despite the fact that they have made the postseason 15 times in a row. Yes, 15 times in a row. They have never lifted a major trophy. Of course, that's if you're not including the Supporter Shield. So Red Bulls as a 7 seed Yes, a 7 seed coming out of the Eastern Conference. So let's check out who's going to be their opponent in the Western Conference. LA Galaxy and the Seattle Sounders. At least one LA team was going to be in this conference final, but I think a lot of people probably thought LAFC were going to be there. Seattle, of course, took care of business and took care of Steve Cherundolo and company. So heading into this game, what did I say to the Sam's Army group chat? I said, if you're looking to bet on this game, I said this is going to be low scoring. It's going to be under 2.5 goals, and Ricky Pooch is going to have an involvement. Mikey Fowler, you're welcome for the next date that you're going to take your girlfriend on in Philadelphia, because I am certainly paying for that with my knowledge of Major League Soccer. Everybody likes to call me the bad boy of Major League Soccer commentating, but I'm much more sensitive than that. So anyway, Los Angeles Galaxy get their lone goal late on in the game. Dejan Joveljic with the great finish off great finish, maybe a little bit more than Stefan Fry could do. He did get a hand to it, but Ricky Pooch, okay, we find out after the fact, played the remaining half hour of the game on a torn ACL. He feeds Joveljic. They win the game by a score of 1-0. It was really a slugfest, and credit to Brian Schmetzer in Seattle, because they did everything that they could with a battered back line. Nathan, who had played like 90 minutes all season, paired up with Jackson Reagan. Yes, University of Michigan's very own Jackson Reagan and Seattle Sounder homegrown. Basically held the Galaxy scoreless and dare I say chanceless for almost the entire game. And that is the best attacking outfit in Major League Soccer outside of Inter Miami. So congratulations to both the Galaxy and the Red Bulls. It's a New York and LA rivalry game of sorts. A couple of MLS originals going after it. Of course, I am referring to the old Metro Stars. The game is going to be in Carson, California. The Galaxy will be without Ricky Pooch, who I voted for Major League Soccer MVP, the Landon Donovan MVP award, if you will. But Galaxy Rebels should be an interesting game, but no Ricky Pooch. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. If you're looking for your best bet, which I know you're not, Rebels to lift the cup.
In LA. In LA, yes. That would be that. I mean, that changes everything. Not having Ricky Pooch. That is huge. And the fact he played for 30 minutes on a torn ACL, that is insane.
And I texted you guys right after he got treatment from the trainer, and I was like, he's hurt, like something doesn't look right. But I didn't think that it was going to be a torn ACL. I thought maybe like a hyperextension or something, a little less significant. But huge blow to the league, huge blow to the Galaxy, not only for the final, but all of next year too. I mean, this injury came at the end of 2024. He's if he has a great recovery, you probably aren't going to expect him back until September or October. So tough news for the Galaxy.
Huge blow. He's been incredible here. All right, well done on the Hit It and Quit It Minute. As always, we will now round things off with stoppage time, where I remembered the hat this time. Ivan Toney's best bets is where we're starting. And the overtrade is hot, boys and girls. 4-1 last week. 4-1. Feeling good, looking good. So we're back at it. 5-a-side, overtrain, 1 a day from Wednesday through Sunday. We're going to start on Wednesday in Germany. The DFB Pokal Cup is going on. Germany's answer to the U.S. Open Cup. Karlsruhe is hosting Augsburg. Thursday, we're going to the Premier League. Listen, Bournemouth will actually come up in my GOAWs, so I won't give it all away at this point, but Bournemouth is a lot of fun to watch. Tottenham can concede and score anytime. So Bournemouth hosting Tottenham on Thursday. That's going over. Friday, we're going to the Eerste-Divisie, the second division in Netherlands. Volendam is hosting Jong AZ Alkmaar. Saturday, we're going to the A-League, my favorite league. Western United hosting MacArthur. And then Sunday, a Danish Cup game. Brabrand. I'm going to go with that pronunciation, which obviously, if I call Arnie Sloot. Brabrand is obviously not not accurate, but Brabrand is hosting Viborg in the Danish Cup. Brabrand is a third division, Viborg second division. I love that game. So there we go. Wednesday through Sunday, let's go get richer than we already are. Mitchell, what do you got best bet wise?
Yeah, I put together something juicy for the midweek. This is going to be tomorrow, so put this in immediately as you listen to Sam's Army podcast. I know you're all listening to it as soon as it drops. You're looking at Chelsea minus 1.5 against Southampton. You're looking at both teams to score in Villa Brentford. You're looking at Liverpool money line. And you're looking at Forest to score 1 goal against City. City always concede, usually first, if you like that. But altogether, it's juicy. It's juicy. Just all you
Real
need.
Juicy. That might be like plus 800 or something.
It's something. It's higher than that, yeah.
All right, Mikey, Ivan Toney's best bet. Hit us with it.
It's 3 days in a row. You're picking one goal scorer each day. You win the first one, you take that whole amount you put on the next day, and we go 3 days straight. Starts tomorrow, plus 280. I don't see how Liam Delap doesn't score against Crystal Palace. Love that at 280. Amazing value. You take that money, and you're going to put it all the way, everything you got, on Ollie Watkins to score against Brentford.
Okay.
He's due. And then on Thursday, it'll come down to the Fulham-Brighton game, and we're putting all of it on João Pedro because Tyler got it wrong. It's perfect that he will score this week because Tyler won't captain him.
Oh, I love the
when he goes, which way Tyler goes up, they go down. When he goes down, they go up.
I'm going to captain him again.
Well, then that'll ruin the whole thing.
I won't for the sake of your best. Right. I've already ruined one bet this year for all of our listeners. I won't ruin two.
All right, we'll just roll things over from Tuesday through Thursday.
If you're on the Discord, you're going to cheer with me as we go day by day.
There you go. Get on Sam's Army Patreon so you can get Mikey's live bullets bets. By the way, okay, Tyler, Ivan Toney's best bet. What do you got?
All right, I like Ipswich money line at home, or no, excuse me, Crystal Palace money line on the road at Ipswich, and then I'm going to pair that with a Man City Forest draw. And then we're going to go, and pardon me while I, scroll here on DraftKings, we're going to go to MLS Cup and pair that with Red Bulls to lift the cup. And you are looking at, so I have to get all the way to Red Bulls over here. You're looking at something that's quite juicy because I'm already at plus 1186 right now. So yeah. I don't know why I can't. It's not even giving me the opportunity to just say Rebels. Anyway,
you are getting some
plus 47.87.
All right,
that's if Rebels win in regular time. It's not letting me bet on
to advance to
simply
win.
Rebels to advance. Yeah,
sure.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. So more like something 5,500, 6,000 maybe even on Red Bulls and. Oh, actually no, it'd be going the other way.
It'd be less. It'd be less. Yeah,
4,000, let's say. Okay. Well done. Now we're all rich. Let's go to GOAWs, everybody's favorite segment. Mikey, why don't you start us off?
Come back to me.
Okay.
I have a
Mitchell,
really good one.
Why don't you start us off?
Yeah, I got one. Ashley Young. And I don't know if this may be coming up for any of you others, but Ashley Young has the potential to play against his son in the FA Cup because Everton drew Peterborough. And his son Tyler, his 18-year-old son Tyler, just made his first appearance earlier in the season. So if the coach of Peterborough has any heart and any romanticism, he would start or at the very least sub on his son Tyler to play against his father in the FA Cup. How unreal would that be? I don't know if that's ever happened before. Should have done a little bit more research on my own GOA, but I doubt it. But I seriously doubt it.
I doubt it too. That would be something. Playing against your son. Good Lord.
Yeah.
Little shout out to Ashley Young on the longevity there. All right. Tyler, what do you got for us on GOAWs?
I am going to go with Sandro Schwartz and the New York Red Bulls. And it just goes to show that in Major League Soccer, and this is sort of a shout out to Greg Berhalter and the Chicago Fire a little bit, which is going to be available to you guys sometime in the middle of this week to all of our listeners, not just Patreon. Patreon got it early, and we are going to release it. But you can turn it around. New coach, a couple new players, a new DP. Like the Major League Soccer is designed for teams to be competitive immediately, even if you're having a turnaround. And that's exactly what Red Bulls did. They get to an MLS Cup final for the first time since 2008. And they do it by beating arguably the best team in the Eastern Conference in the Columbus Crew. And then you get two easier games once you knock out the 2 seed, right? You're able to take down, I forget exactly who it was in the conference or NYCFC in the conference semifinal, and then Orlando City. I mean, very winnable game. So shout out to Red Bulls and Sandro Schwartz and just sort of like the makeup of Major League Soccer. I know a lot of people hate it, but at the end of the day, like, can you imagine if some of these teams and some of these fans, like, if it was a free market or if there was promotion relegation? I mean, Chicago Fire would be playing in National League right now, and San Jose Earthquakes would basically be managed by Mikey Fowler, and we just can't have that because he's the bad boy of Sam's Army. Anyway,
we got a lot of bad boys around here. Yes,
yeah.
I love the shout out. Red Bulls do deserve it, and it does give us hope here in Chicago Fireland. All right, Mikey, what do you got?
So on Saturday, the Copa Libertadores final. For all of us that watched it, I know it was thousands of you. Botafogo won 3-1. In the 97th minute to seal it, a player named Junior Santos scored a goal. I don't know if any of you saw this story going around. He's a 30-year-old striker from Brazil. Here's the story. At age 23, he received a prophecy at church that he'd one day travel the world playing football. So he quit his job as a bricklayer and to go play for Brazil's fourth tier Ituano, the same club where Gabi Martinelli's from, thousands of miles from his home. After some stints in Japan, bumping around in the lower leagues of Brazil, he finally got the gig with Botafogo, came on, scored a game, not the game's winner by any means, but the emphasis goal, took his shirt off, and recapped just a truly unbelievable story. So Junior Santos, 30-year-old Brazilian striker, is my GOAT.
And one other little news note from that game: didn't Botafogo give up they got a red card in the
30 seconds in.
30 seconds into the game, and they ended up winning the Copa Libertadores final. Well,
30-second red card.
That is a hell of a way to start out the game and a hell of a way to bounce back. So shout out to Botafogo. I'm glad you brought that up. All right, quick one. This is not necessarily my GOA, but sort of thoughts and prayers to Eduardo Bove for Fiorentina. Another one of these just sort of scary situations where, he just looked like he got dizzy all of a sudden and collapsed in the middle of the game, off the ball, right in front of the benches. And you could tell immediately, everybody's like, oh my God, this is not good. Sounds like it might be okay. He's at the hospital. I think I saw he's regained consciousness, and, seems like things might be trending in the right direction. But man, these situations are always really scary when athletes are pushing their bodies to the absolute limits. Things happen. So just thoughts and prayers on that one. I was going to give it to Ricky Puig because he's just been, the play that Puig, Mitch, is that what you're looking for?
I'm going to do a super cut of all your pronunciations of names.
You're going to have too much content. Ricky Puig, the fact that he played the last 30 minutes on a torn ACL, I feel like he's sort of looked at as kind of like a pretty boy, maybe the pretty boy of Sam's Army, or at least MLS. But man, that takes some guts to do that. So shout out to him on that. I'm actually going to give my go to Evan Nielsen, who drew not one, not two, but 3 penalties for Bournemouth in the weekend game. They were all finished by Patrick Kluivert. So yeah, well done to Kluivert for finishing them all, but also Evan Nielsen. I know I'm screwing that one up to Kluivert. Listen, you're going to have an entire episode of just me butchering names. So Patrick Kluivert scored all 3, but Evan Nielsen, who got no credit really, got all 3. So shout out to Evan Nielsen. All right, that's all we got this week. But keep an eye out, as Tyler teased earlier. We got the special episode dropping later this episode with the full interview with Greg Berhalter. There was some lighthearted moments where we joked around with him, but there was also some questions about, how he's going to turn around the fire, if he could go back to the U.S. men's national team and sort of change one thing or redo one thing, what would it be? It was a good interview. It was a good chat. We sort of, actually got to get a sense of what Greg's all about. So go check out that episode. And also, if you want more content like that and you're not yet signed up for the Patreon, Sam's Army Patreon is where it's at. Not just, extra episodes. You also got the Discord chat going all the time. Tommy's tactical blogs are dropping at least basically once a week at this point, which we can, as we said, will raise your soccer IQ immediately as soon as you start reading those. So there's a lot of stuff going on there. That's all we got. Mitchell, Tyler, Mikey, you guys are the best. And we'll be back bigger, better, stronger, faster next week. See you guys then.